In this short presentation, I'm going to tell you about a literature review that I wrote for a journal article, and I'm going to explain how it fits into the article and some of its features. So the article is called Discussions about the Technical Communication Profession, Perspectives from the Blogosphere, and this was an article where I analysed the content of blogs and tried to show how they reflected practitioners' concerns relating to the themes of professionalisation as outlined in the literature. So my literature review was concerned with professionalisation, and that was the area that I wanted to provide context and background information on. This article was published in the Technical Communication Journal, and I've put a copy in Solus so that you can have a look at the literature review in a little bit more detail, and you can see how it fits into the overall article. So the article begins with an abstract followed by an introduction, and then you can see the literature review on the second page. You remember from the lecture that we said the purpose of a literature review is to provide an overview of research that has been done in a field, to give the researcher a better understanding of the field, to demonstrate that understanding, and to decide what methods they might use. But it also does certain things such as help the reader to understand what the main themes are, who has written about the field, what similar studies have been conducted, how they've been conducted, and whether there's been a research gap that has been identified. So my literature review here begins by defining a key term, which is profession, and then also giving the academic definition of professions. I then go on to talk about a few main themes that emerge and that are especially relevant to my study, and those themes are training and education, followed by status and value, and also professional institutions, and finally professions in the information age. You'll remember from the lecture that we mentioned that there are certain requirements of a literature review. So it must include references to related studies. Here you can see references to studies that are relevant to what I'm referring to. Some of them are to older or classic texts. For example, Flexner is a well-known thinker in the field of professions and professionalisation, but some of them are to newer texts, such as when I'm referring to professions in the information age, where I refer to Lewis Kaufold and La Rosa and Bauer. The writing style in this literature review is formal and academic, and it uses a referencing system that's similar to the system we use in UL. So we use the Harvard system in UL, and this is a name date system similar to the system that's used for this article, where for the writer, any author is referred to, the year is given, and for direct quotes the page number is also provided. Any idea that was not my own had to be referenced in this literature review, and that's a really important point for you, that you make sure to provide references. If you're unsure about whether to include a reference, include it just to be on the safe side. You also need to include transition words to show connections between ideas. Let me show you some transition words used in this paragraph on professions in the information age. So it begins with an opening topic sentence. The first transition word is although, which indicates some opposition. More recently is the next transition, so it indicates some kind of development of thought. Even the word these can be a transition word because it's showing that you're linking this sentence to previous a concept mentioned in the previous sentence. So you can see these kinds of words. Others include however, in addition to, and so on. These show a development of ideas, and they make your writing more fluent. Another key feature of the writing style is that you signpost your study, and you signpost each new section as it comes along. So you're directing the reader towards the next section, and you're also telling them about why these topics are relevant to your area of study. For example, at the end of my literature review, I include a sentence that says, technical communicators, given Their role as content producers should be key operators in this netocracy, and that moves into the methodology section, which comes next. Finally, all literature reviews must include a list of references, and this list of references must match exactly the references that you've included in the lit review. So every reference that you mentioned is listed, and you list these consistently according to the Harvard system. You list them in alphabetical order rather than in the order in which they were mentioned in the text. I will put this article in Solus so that you can review it and examine how the literature review fits into the overall article and the features of it that provide context for the reader and that provide context for a study.